The Wildcats, now ranked 8th in the country, went on the road to Champaign for a drizzly slugfest with Illinois. And the Cats were in an angry mood. Despite what they'd proven on the field, odds makers rated them as underdogs to Illinois, what one player called blatant disrespect. It took a fourth-quarter rally, but the Wildcats recaptured the Sweet Sioux Tomahawk Trophy with a 17-14 win over the Fighting Illini. Early in the second quarter, the Illini completed a 97-yard drive to take a 14-0 lead. Northwestern cut that lead to 4 by halftime. On 3rd and 4, Steve Schnurr passed to Brian Musso for 16 yards. One play later, Darnell Autry went off the right side for 14, down to the Illinois 37. The drive stalled, and Brian Goins kicked a 49-yard field goal to cut the Illinois lead to 14-3. After forcing an Illini punt, Northwestern scored on its second straight drive. Schnurr to Dwayne Bates gained 21 to the 46-yard line. Darnell Autry then picked up 12 more, setting up a Northwestern touchdown.
Schnurr takes the snap, back to throw it here. And he's going deep down the far side for Dwayne Bates, makes the catch! Touchdown!
Northwestern trailed by 4, 14-10, with 4:47 to play in the half. Illinois took the ensuing kickoff and drove all the way to the NU 8-yard line before Eric Collier's interception snuffed out the Illini scoring opportunity. The momentum was shifting to Northwestern. The third quarter was scoreless. One Illini drive was stopped on an interception by Rodney Ray. The fourth quarter comeback proved Northwestern was a team with character and determination. Down by 4, the Wildcats took over at the 42 and proceeded to drive for the winning touchdown. Darnell Autry provided much of the yardage, as he did all day, finishing with 159 yards on 41 carries. It was Autry's 9th consecutive 100-yard game, a Northwestern record. Autry carried 9 times on the drive for 37 yards. Quarterback Steve Schnurr completed only 8 passes in the game, but the timing of those completions was impeccable. A 19-yarder to Dwayne Bates took Northwestern to the 20-yard line. The Cats' offensive line didn't allow a sack all afternoon. A face mask call gave NU first and goal at the 3. On 3rd and goal, Steve Schnurr's quarterback sneak was met by a wall of resistance. 4th down.
Up to the line. Matt Hartle in motion. The pitch to Autry. Autry to the goal line. Touchdown!
The blocking was perfect, with fullback Matt Hartle hitting his man, guard Justin Shabbat getting a good shot on the linebacker, tight end Darren Drexler flattening Illini star Simeon Rice. That precision blocking allowed Northwestern to take the lead 17-14 with 6:14 left to play. Now it was up to the Wildcats' defense to preserve the victory. Illini receiver Jason Dulick, a high school teammate of Steve Schnurr, made a 37-yard fingertip catch that gave Illinois a 1st and 10 at the NU 18-yard line with 1:23 to play. The Wildcat defense toughened. Illini quarterback Scott Weaver fumbled the snap. Northwestern's Matt Rice sacked him for a 13-yard loss. After a holding call went against Illinois, Northwestern wrapped up the victory when safety Eric Collier intercepted in the end zone with 7 seconds left. 3 interceptions in the game improved the Wildcats' giveaway takeaway mark to plus 19, tops in the nation. The Wildcats had moved up to 6th in the nation, yet they were once again considered underdogs. A national TV audience wondered if Northwestern could complete an improbable hat trick, beating Notre Dame, Michigan, and Penn State in the same season. Coach Gary Barnett chose the Penn State game to honor the memory of Marcel Price, a member of last year's team killed in a shooting accident over the summer in Nashville. All season, the players had worn patches on their jerseys in tribute to Marcel. In an emotional ceremony before the game, Price's parents received a game ball and were surrounded by their late son's teammates.
He'll always be with us in our hearts and our minds. He's a great friend to all of us, and he's very talented. And I'm glad that we got the chance to honor him, and give the game ball to his parents.
This was the game ball from the victory Northwestern over Notre Dame. and they presented it to us on the 50-yard line at the Penn State game. It was a moving event.
Marcel was my roommate this summer, and so, you know, after that happened, it really hit home to a lot of guys, I think, and I think we rallied together around that. You know, if you can't be motivated by something like that, then I don't think you're human, and that's what it was for us. You know, I think we were so inspired by that too, and so many guys were so close to Marcel because he was just that type of guy, just that type of player, and you know, when that happened, I think we really pulled together. And
the Wildcats scored on their first possession of the game. It was a methodical 12-play, 73-yard drive that set the tone for the game. Quarterback Steve Schnurr passed 17 yards to Dwayne Bates. Schnurr also connected with tight end Darren Drexler 3 times. The longest completion was 16 yards. With fullback Matt Hartle clearing the way, Darnell Autry scored from 2 yards out, and Northwestern never trailed. In the second quarter, Brian Musso's 23-yard punt return got the Wildcats rolling again. The drive ended with an Autry touchdown.
In motion is Mike McGrew. Schnurr gives Darnell Autry to the outside of the 10. He's to the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown!
Penn State closed the 2-touchdown gap with a late first-half TD, and it was 14-7 at the intermission. It was the only touchdown allowed by the Northwestern defense. In the third quarter, the Cat defenders were on the field for virtually the entire period. Penn State's first possession ended with a third-down sack by Casey Daly and Ray Roby. Penn State got the ball back on a turnover at the NU 22, but the Cats shut down Penn State and allowed only a 24-yard field goal. 14-10, Northwestern still on top. On a later Penn State drive, heavy pressure by Casey Daly forced an incomplete pass. A subsequent 27-yard field goal attempt was ruled wide right, although Penn State insisted the kick was good. Northwestern then put together a drive of 80 yards, similar to the long drive that had opened the game. There were 2 key plays during the drive. Dave Beasley gained 25 yards on a reverse.
At the 23, Schnurr gives it off. Autry hurdles the line. He's to the 20, the outside, the 15, the 10, the 5. He's out of bounds just inside the 1. Steve Schnurr will give it off to Darnell Autry to the right side into the end zone. Touchdown!
Darnell Autry's assault on the Northwestern record book continued. His 139-yard performance was his 10th straight 100-yard game. Against Penn State, he set NU records for touchdowns in a season with 14, rushing touchdowns 13, points in a season 84, and season rushing yardage 1,339 and counting. With 11 minutes to play, Northwestern had an 11-point lead. The Cats' pass rush went after Wally Richardson. Back-to-back sacks by Ismaili and Martin led to a Penn State punt. Linebacker Pat Fitzgerald finished with 17 tackles and this fourth-quarter sack. Fitzgerald was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week for the 3rd time in '95. His biggest games came against the Wildcats' toughest opponents.
I think my consistency came from the consistency of the defensive line. Guys like Matt Rice, Ray Roby, Keith Lozowski, Casey Daly, Mike Warren, all those guys played outstanding all year long. And they allowed me to be able to make the plays that I was able to make. And without those guys, I wouldn't have been able to become consistent because that's what I was lacking in my first 2 years here. I'd play good in the 20 plays that I was in, but I wasn't consistent. I'd play good 4 plays and bad 2 plays. And this year, with the way that they played, it allowed me to play very well.
Fitzgerald and his dominating defensive teammates, call them the Purple Curtain, allowed just 38 points in the victories over Notre Dame, Michigan, and Penn State. Nittany Lion coach Joe Paterno called it the best defense Penn State saw in '95.
There's great pride in our defensive unit. You know, we started off in last winter saying that for us to go to the Rose Bowl, we had to be the best defense in the Big Ten. And to hear that from a tremendous coach like that, it's very flattering. It just shows how much of a team we are. You know, we don't really have flashy individuals. You know, we just have guys that go out and play together and have a lot of fun, and that's what we did all year long.